Hello everybody and welcome to the Northern Frontier. Now, a lot of you might be wondering what exactly is the Northern Frontier. The Northern Frontier is a survival game based off of the early colonial days of America. Now, when I say it is a survival game, it really is, meaning you will need to hunt, fish, gather supplies and resources, sell furs, to make your own profit, and to get the materials that you'll need to survive. So, starting off, you should have something called a title screen. Now, the title screen will have colonist and a native for the average person. However, later in the game, if you decide that you want to be a more militaristic kind of path, you can choose the HBC. The HBC are the protectors of James Bay and the rest of the frontier. Now, let's compare colonists to natives. The colonists are a business-driven kind of people. They are self-made and they want to fish, hunt, and mine for money. And they can use that money to go to the stores and buy clothing, weapons, better materials, and much more. However, the natives don't too much care about money. The natives more often live from hunting, using skins to make bandages in their own clothing. They use wood for arrows, and they can unlock some crafting recipes that the colonists just can't right off the bat. Now, for this tutorial, we will be starting with the colonist. So let's get this started. Alright guys, so here we are at the point of confusion. Now, right off the bat, you're going to start wondering, what do I do? So, first of all, we're going to need to make some money. Now, the best early on way to do that is to use the axe that you were given at the very start. You can approach any tree usually and hold E. Now, holding E will allow you to chop that tree down for logs. Using those logs, you can craft torches, ground torches, and they will immediately sell for 5 pounds in the store. 2 logs per 1. Not every tree is going to drop 1 log. Some trees drop 3 and some others drop 2. It's a random thing. So, once we have our logs, we're going to take those. We are going to craft a torch. Torches are the easiest thing to sell right off the bat. So we're going to go back in. Gonna meet your first interaction with an AI in the game. Now, the general store AI will allow you to sell and buy necessary items. So, right off the bat, you'll notice these tables, which has an axe, a fishing pole, a backpack, a bow and arrows, and a knife. Now, the fishing pole is what other than fishing, so you'll need to get one of those. Of course, you're going to need a backpack, so the easiest one to get right off is the small knapsack. Of course, for hunting, we should start out with a bow. Goes along with that. Now, you can buy the arrows in bulk at the actual merchant, or you can buy them one by one here. And for skinning animals, we'll need a knife. So, go back out and I'll teach you how to equip those. To equip items onto your character, you're going to need to open your inventory, click on the item, and drag it over to items equipped. You'll need to do that with all your weapons and bandages. Now that you have that done, we can move on. Now, we're going to start with fishing. Fishing is another easy way to make quick cash. If you're brand new, you just need to approach the water, draw back your fishing pole by left clicking, and let go. Now, fishing can take some time. In fact, I would say it's the most time consuming way of making money, but it's efficient and you can't be in danger unless there's a native in the safe zone. Now, if there was a fish on this pole, all you would need to do is tap R over and over after it has taken the bait. When I say taking the bait, I mean that the fishing ball will bounce up and down on the water, showing that something's messing with the lure. You'll press R over and over, and if there's a fish on the end, it will now be attached. It will immediately go straight into your inventory. After getting some kind of meat in your inventory, you will of course need to cook it, but I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Last but not least, one of the best ways to make a profit in the end is mining. Why? Because it can also be used to craft guns and ammo. However, you will need a smelter and a blacksmith station to do so. The way you mine is you will go to your general store and you will pick up a pickaxe for 60 pounds. Then you will take that pickaxe and approach any of the ores. Now there are ore all around the map, in caves and other mines, especially on islands. Currently, islands are the only place you will be able to get gold, but with the new map update there will be gold mines in the actual game itself. So, to actually use the pickaxe is the same as chopping a tree or interacting with anything else. This is sulfur. Sulfur is used to make gunpowder. Gunpowder goes with iron ingots, which makes ammunition. You would simply pick up the sulfur and take it to a blacksmith station to make gunpowder. Now, iron is basically just used to make iron ingots. Iron ingots are almost used in everything from fortified positions to guns to crossbows to knives, swords, almost anything craftable in the game. You will need a smelter though to make iron ingots, which can be created from wood and stone. Now that we're warm, we're going to move on to hunting. Now, hunting is going to be your best friend in this game, because hunting not only provides you a good food source, but also a good source of income from furs, which are the #1 selling item in the game. Now, the easiest animal to hunt is going to be a rabbit. It not only doesn't move far, but it's an easy kill, taking one arrow from any bow. Now what we're going to do is we're going to wait for the rabbit to stop moving. We're going to follow it until it does. Then you're going to click Q to aim. You're going to draw back your arrow with left click, and you're going to fire by letting go of the button. Now you're going to take that hunting knife and you're going to skin the rabbit. Doing this will allow you to get fur and meat from the animal. Of course, rabbit meat is a good source of food, but not so much a thing you want to sell, because it's not really worth too much. Better things to sell would be to, let's say, Northern Camp elk. Your best friend is also going to be this man as a colonist. You can open him to travel to Eastern Tower, Brightson Checkpoint, or Northern Camp. Now, Eastern Tower is close to Native Camp, Brightson Checkpoint is close to the HBC Fort, and Northern Camp will allow you to go straight to the elk hunting. Let's go there. Now, elk are much stronger than rabbits and will take a larger supply of arrows to take down. 3 perfect pullbacks should allow you to take down an elk. Now the animals will not run from you, as they are very docile, but don't fall behind, because an elk will outrun you and so will a deer. A rabbit, however, might not. Now we're going to move on to cooking. Of course, you can't just eat raw meat, or you don't really want to sell raw meat, so what you're going to need to do is go to a fire. Once you see that you're warming yourself up, proceed to open your crafting menu. Then you will see immediately it pops up, cooked rabbit meat. All it's going to require is your raw meat. So you're going to click that, and a cooked rabbit meat will be placed in your inventory. Now of course you don't need to drag this on you like you would equipment, clothing, or weapons. All you're going to need to do is right click it to eat it. Now that will prevent your hunger bar from going down. It will raise it, and you always want to keep your hunger bar at full. If your hunger bar does reach 0, then your stamina is going to rise very slowly when trying to replenish. Now we're going to talk about warmth. Warmth is one of the biggest factors in this game. It can choose whether you win or lose a fight, or if you can actually successfully get away from something going south, or if you can just catch the animal you're currently hunting. You always want to make sure that your warmth is not dropping down to 0. Now, this can be chosen by getting more clothing, a lantern, standing by a fire, just simple things that would warm you up. But as for me, I'm almost wearing nothing but some clothing, meaning I'm going to lose a ton of warmth. But if you're walking on snow, you're going to also lose far more, because imagine it, snow is a very cold thing. You're not just going to stay warm while trudging through some snow. You're also going to have a speed reduction given to you, because it's a lot harder to walk past snow than or on stone and dirt. Now that you've found yourself more geared than the usual man, and you've raised enough money to be able to afford yourself some nice weapons such as guns or a crossbow, you can then venture out into the frontier. But you will often be met with enemies, and you want to keep careful. Almost nobody out here is friendly. Don't ever trust just right off the bat. If somebody tries to convince you to leave a safe zone when there's more than one of them, or if you don't know them, don't just trust them. They're more than likely just trying to take your gear and leave you with nothing. So, sometimes your best idea is to just go out alone when nobody's paying attention and watch your back. Now, there are several bandits in this game. Like I addressed before, they will just take your things. Some people are legitimate though, and you can make friends in this game. But just always keep an eye out. Now is a good time to introduce some of the navigation equipment you will be able to purchase during the game, such as a compass or a spyglass, the lantern. So the lantern, as stated before, is incredible for warmth. It cancels out a solid 30 negative warmth effect, while the spyglass is fantastic for being able to see in the distance up close for things you couldn't tell. Let's say you were watching a group from afar, but you couldn't tell what kind of weapons they had or what uniforms they were wearing. Simply pull out your spyglass, and you can press F and R to zoom in and zoom out. So we can't really see anything at native, so we're just going to zoom in using R. Now currently the fog obstructs what vision we have, but if there was no fog we would be able to see everything clearly from native. You can zoom in farther than this, but as you zoom in farther it gets a little bit harder to control the spyglass. And for a compass, this will be your main navigation tool during the game. When calling out directions of enemies or just traveling on the islands to certain points or flags, you're going to need to be able to use the compass properly. Now's the perfect time to explain what a faction is. A faction is a group that can be formed in-game of people who are a part of the same idealist group, such as the HBC, whose ideals are to protect James Bay and to watch over the citizens, while preventing crime and native slaughter. However, other groups don't have such ideals. Their ideals may be profit, or mining, or maybe just simple banditing. Such as the two factions in game, you could see there's Scottish Resistance and then Royal Rifles of Canada. The Scottish Resistance are a KOS faction for the HBC. They tend to kill anybody on site who has a weapon and dry loot them. That's what you could consider a bandit faction. Now, currently the last thing I want to talk to you about is combat. As you can see, I've just witnessed this native slaughter another, steal his stuff, and then keep walking. Now, I joined my HBC because it is our job to keep the peace in this game. We're the ones who have to watch over everybody and make sure that nobody's just killing for no reason, looting, committing crimes. As you can see, he is slowed down and over encumbered because of all the loot he just took. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to put him down. Now, The only thing I'm gonna take is the weapons that he stole. That's it. It's part of being HBC is to disarm somebody. Now he may beg, but he's the one who just killed somebody else. I hope this tutorial helped you learn what you needed to know in order to be able to play. Now, remember, good luck out there and don't trust anybody.